Join us to find out about Z, Seymour, and Parker and their visit to the Marine Science Center. Then catch a glimpse of a new exhibit at the Ocean Center's Echo Gallery featuring Volusia's waterways, and find out how students are getting more than just a good education at school. Those segments, news, and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Patterson, and I hope you stay tuned. A large crowd of well-wishers was on hand August 6th to witness the release of 3 sea turtles that had been nursed back to good health by Volusia County's Marine Science Center. There were lots of cheers and photo snapping as a trio of loggerhead sea turtles made their way back to the ocean on the beach in Ponce Inlet.
We have an affinity and a love for animals, so the guys got to appreciate that and learn. It's a big deal. Get to learn the importance how to take care of our animals, all the creatures on Earth, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
The 3 turtles ranged in weight from 55 to 131 pounds. Instinct kicked in the salt air, and the turtles happily headed to the water.
So all 3 of the turtles, their main issue was that they had been sick for so long before they washed in. Some of them had external injuries, but mostly what we're treating is the debilitation. They're underweight, they're dehydrated, they're anemic, they need to put on weight, and they need some good nutrition. And that's one of the easy things to do. Once we get them feeling better and things moving, we're able to get them fed up and give them, hydration. And so luckily, some of them were so debilitated that it's really good to see them turn around. And it was a long, slow process, but once they got to that point, we could tell, they were improving, and every day we saw them getting better and stronger. And you saw them the way they swam off today. They're ready to go and be turtles out in the wild now.
Z is a large subadult loggerhead that was stranded May 1st at the jetty in Ponce de Leon Inlet. Seymour is a juvenile loggerhead that was caught May 9th by a fisherman on a hook and line off of Sunglow Pier. Luckily, the hook was only snagged on a barnacle on its shell and not ingested, but the turtle was covered in barnacles and floating near the shore because it had been sick for a prolonged period of time and was debilitated. Parker is a sub-adult loggerhead that was found stranded on New Smyrna Beach with a fishing hook in the corner of his mouth and some old wounds to the shell.
It's so exciting when we have a turtle that we can release right here locally in our area, and we can involve the community, Ponce Inlet, Port Orange, Daytona, all the people that come to our center and support us and support our mission for rescuing and rehabilitating sea turtles. And we were so thankful to see such a big crowd here today.
Since opening in 2002, the Marine Science Center has cared for more than 900 juvenile and adult sea turtles, more than 15,000 hatchlings and washbacks, and more than 1,000 gopher tortoises, freshwater turtles, and snakes. The Mary Keller Seabird Rehabilitation Facility at the Marine Science Center has received more than 9,500 birds since it opened in 2004. For more information about the Marine Science Center, you can visit marinesciencecenter.com. A special exhibit featuring a significant element of Volusia County's exciting history is on display in the Ocean Center's Echo Gallery. Volusia Waterways, the Current of Change, focuses on the role the waterways have played in the county's development.
Well, this exhibit, the waters of Volusia play such a big part in the area in our life today and have been through history. And we just wanted to bring attention to these interesting facets of the waters of Volusia. And our biggest challenge of the project was just trying to decide what areas to focus on. There's so many possible topics and subjects to choose from. That was our biggest challenge. Well, I think people are going to be surprised about the range of not only artifacts and objects, but the photography and the photographs that are on the wall, from historic postcards of the steamboats on the river to commercial fishermen plying their trade on the waters. And I think just the range of how the waters have been utilized in the county.
The exhibit celebrates this rich history of Florida and Volusia County through a closer look at 4 defining areas. Native Americans discovered through archaeology and shell middens, steamboats, shipwrecks, and warboats, recreation and commercial fishing, and art inspiration from Volusia's waters. Volusia County commissioned Eric Dusenberry of Senderic Documentaries of DeLand to curate the exhibit and document some of the aspects of Volusia waters through photography and oral history narratives.
I went to the different historical societies in the area and different organizations that could provide documents and photographs, and I selected and combined all those that material into the exhibit. And then as a documentary photographer, I went out and photographed and selected some people to include in the exhibit that I could get their oral history about and photograph the contemporary aspects of Volusia waters.
This exhibit is part of the Viva Florida 500, a statewide commemoration of Florida's history beginning with Ponce de Leon's landing in 1513. It will be on display through early 2014. The public can view the exhibit in the Ocean Center's Echo Gallery from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Admission is free. Did you know what you do with those water bottles, aluminum cans, and glass does make a difference? In fact, the Daytona Speedway just recently won an award for its recycling program. Volusia County's recycling program is growing by leaps and bounds, hitting an all-time high in 2012. The county's Solid Waste and Recycling Division now recycles more than 200,000 tons, or 43% of the municipal solid waste generated by businesses and homeowners. This includes appliances, yard trash, and items placed in curbside bins. But the biggest part of the county's recycling program is construction and demolition debris, which topped 136,000 tons just last year. In 2010, the Florida legislature set a statewide recycling goal of 75% by 2020. Volusia County continues to look for new ways to increase its recycling percentage to meet this ambitious goal.
We're looking at a variety of initiatives, including single-stream curbside recycling. Under that program, we would distribute large recycling carts to unincorporated residents, and they would be able to put all their recyclable material in the one cart. Research shows that when people don't have to separate their materials, they could recycle 10% more. And we want to make it easier for the residents.
Volusia County officials recently joined with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection in recognizing the International Speedway Corporation for its success in achieving a 60% recycling rate at its racetracks.
Like we always say, when I was a kid, it's impersonation is the greatest form of respect. Everybody needs to start impersonating what's going on here. Let's start this recycling. Let's get these tires in. Start recycling the oil. Go back and start working on a green building. Because you know what? If the International Speedway Corporation could do it, a large multinational, multi-mega company can do this, and it can be productive, anybody can.
Herschel Vineyard, secretary to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, visited the International Speedway Corporation headquarters in Daytona Beach to deliver his personal congratulations.
They're leading by example to all of Florida businesses. They are great recyclers in our community, and the purpose of this event today is to encourage other businesses to get on board. We have room to improve in our state, and our objective is to recycle 75% of the waste that we generate.
To learn what you can do to recycle more, visit volusia.org/recycle. A new thrill ride is open on the boardwalk of the world's most famous beach. Joanne Magley has more in this week's Volusia Here and Now report.
waves, sand, and breathtaking view is enough of a thrill for many of us who visit the beaches of Volusia County. But for those who want more, there's a new thrill ride on Daytona Beach's boardwalk. The Sand Blaster roller coaster made riders scream for the first time the first weekend of August. Construction of the coaster began in the spring. Ed Kennedy is one of the owners of Boardwalk Amusements, which include the Ferris wheel, tilt-a-whirl, go-karts, and more. Kennedy says when his business partner took a ride on the coaster, the deal was sealed to bring it to Daytona Beach.
We went up to Maryland there and took a look, and he got on the ride and he rode it. I just could see by the expression of his face that this was going to be ours. So we turned around and purchased it, moved it down to Tampa area, totally rebuilt it, turned around, and here we are now.
The coaster came from a closed amusement park in Delaware. The new owners invested more than $1 million in the ride, which included galvanizing nearly every inch of steel structure to protect it. So what can riders expect?
It's 85 feet high, turns around, it's 212 feet long, has 2 large drops on it, a couple spirals. It's a real fun ride.
And what are the riders saying?
It was a blast. I definitely recommend riding in the front seat. It is a wonderful addition to the park, and it's amazing. If you haven't done it, you have to stop by and try it. It was a great time.
Well, you kind of go slow at the beginning, creepy crawl up to the top. You get a good vision and everything, and that you can see the ocean real good. You can see the Ferris wheel when it's running, and then, you know, the first drop's a doozy. That's it, and then it's all going from there. It's a lot of fun. Good time.
The cost to ride the Sand Blaster is $6 or 3 rides for $15. Kennedy says the Sand Blaster will be open year-round and should be sturdy enough to withstand hurricanes. In addition to making history as the first coaster on the boardwalk, the ride is one more link in a chain of beachside revitalization that already includes the $5 million makeover of the Daytona Beach Pier, Joe's Crab Shack, and 2 major hotel condo projects opening within the next few years. For Volusia Here and Now, I'm Joanne Magley.
Stephanie Strong tells us about the Volusia County school-based oral health program in this segment of Community Health Matters.
Going to the dentist is as easy as going to school for some Volusia County students.
We have the resources to protect these children and protect these teeth from ever getting cavities.
That's because the Florida Department of Health in Volusia County is offering a preventative oral health program that brings the care to the students.
Little children should see their dentist on a regular basis in order to learn how to brush their teeth, floss their teeth, but also to have their teeth cleaned and learn how to take care of their teeth.
The program provides preventative care such as dental sealants.
The dental sealant program is very advantageous to youngsters. It enables them to not only have their teeth examined, but also the sealant is placed on the back molar teeth to prevent them from developing cavities.
We were able to partner with the Volusia County school system and bringing the preventative program to the students, where the students do not have to leave the school. This preventative care gives them the opportunity that throughout their life to help protect their teeth and help prevent them from getting cavities.
According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, findings from scientific studies clearly show that school dental sealant programs work to stop tooth decay. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Stephanie Strong, Public Information Officer for the Florida Department of Health in Volusia County.
If you have any questions about this or any other health-related issues, you can always log on to volusiahealth.com. Time to head into the studio to join our very own Community Information Director, Dave Byron, and his guest, Volusia County Economic Development Director, Rob Earhart.
Thank you, Amber, and hi, everyone. There are many indicators now that point to the fact that the local economy is picking up a good head of steam. When you look at some of the county's leading economic statistics for the second quarter of this year, the signs appear to be getting more optimistic every month. We're very pleased to have with us in the studio today Rob Earhart. He's the county's Economic Development Director, and we're going to get his take on the local economic conditions as we look at the April, May, June period. Rob, thanks for being with us. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Rob, I like to always start with, kind of the large landscape, which is across the United States, and of course we're all now globally connected, really. What do you see when you look across America today? I mean, for example, you see a city like Detroit filing for bankruptcy, which is kind of, a sign that maybe things are changing in that area. But you look at some of the other very positive things that are going on, and all in all, it seems to be very positive.
Again, the macro level indicators, gross domestic product, to go from 0.1 or 1/10% to 1.1% to 1.7% in 3 consecutive quarters. If we can continue that trend, that bodes well for the country. Consumer confidence is up on a relatively consistent basis, maybe from month to month. Maybe people lose a little bit of confidence. The investor community certainly is demonstrating they think that we have hit a positive stride.
Sure.
So.
Now, I've asked you this many times over many interviews, and I've sized you up as a kind of a conservative, kind of a guy that likes to put a little restraint on
Say
things.
it's not so, Dave.
Are you ready to say now, Rob, that we have bottomed out and certainly on a good climb now in Volusia County, or are you still cautiously optimistic?
Dave, I'm ready to say that if the bottom is Elvis, that Elvis has left the building.
So obviously things really have turned themselves around in Volusia County.
Things are definitely on the upswing, whether you are were looking to buy some property or come in and make investments. If you were seeking that bottom, I think it's fair to say that you missed it. That said, still a great value. A lot of opportunities. We're seeing that, I know, in some of the projects that we'll probably talk about here in a minute.
Rob, let's talk about the residential construction numbers, and we'll go to commercial in a minute. But looking at the second quarter residential permit numbers, in other words, the number of homes that were permitted by the jurisdictions across the county, I mean, that number shot up significantly in the second quarter.
Second quarter number is up 40% or more. Either in the numbers or in the dollars as compared to first quarter, and is up almost 100% in numbers or dollars as compared to the same quarter a year ago.
Wow. Just significant when you look at the bar graphs and you see that spike. It's really significant. You know, Rob, you mentioned this, but it's probably worth noting, and that's the fact that it's not only just the number of new residential permits, but the value of those permits is on the increase. What do you make of that?
The value is on the increase. So what I do is I typically just a simple division problem, the number of permits divided by the dollar, or right. I guess it's dollars per permit, so vice versa. And as compared to a year ago, the result or the value of those permits is up about 9%, 9.2%. That seems to track with what we're reading is happening across the United States, about 12% increase across the U.S. So I think we are one of those hotter markets.
Is that as a result, Rob, of increased competition? In other words, kind of a supply and demand thing, or I mean, how do you figure that?
Well, it's a complex equation. There were a lot of contributing factors,
right.
And supply and demand was certainly one of those. But I believe, again, it reflects the value that that we as residents have always known exists here in Volusia County, and that others considering opportunities, whether they're investment opportunities or, as we spoke earlier, people that have now able to sell their home in the Mid-Atlantic or the Northeast, right. And they're looking for a place to relocate to. Who wouldn't want to relocate to Florida and Volusia County?
We've often used the phrase, commercial follows rooftops. And we know that when the residential side of things kind of slowed down, so did the commercial side of things. Now we see the residential side, construction activity starting to pick up. Do you think that's a harbinger of what's going to happen on the commercial side?
The numbers for second quarter certainly bear that out. Again, we've got, whether you look at the numbers of permits or the dollar value of permits, compare second quarter to first quarter or second quarter of this year to a year ago, they're up over 100% or 200%, depending on how you make that calculation. Mm-hmm. So I really like to focus on the dollar value of the commercial permits more right. So than the number. It doesn't necessarily take a large number of commercial permits sure. To create an expansive dollar value. Would argue that the Daytona Rising project is an example of that.
Sure.
The $375 million to $400 million investment that International Speedway Corporation is making in the Daytona International Speedway to bring that up to be one of, if not the #1 entertainment venues in the country. I'm not sure a lot of people realize you can fit 14 or 15 NFL stadiums inside the circumference that is Daytona International Speedway. So I think the leadership there recognizes the potential for not just races, certain times of the year, but other entertainment opportunities that continue to bring people into the area.
Yeah, we talked, Rob, in the last quarter about all the buzz that was created by the potential of a Hard Rock Hotel and another hotel on the beach side of Daytona Beach. Those projects, certainly are on the drawing board. There's a lot of buzz about them, but when you go back to the Daytona Rising project at the Speedway, that project is permitted and coming out of the ground. I mean, that is a happening project.
It is, and you don't necessarily see those dollar values yet reflected in the number or the dollar value of the commercial permits that we're reporting for second quarter. So it'll be exciting to see that, that real spike reflected there in the third and the fourth quarter.
Let's look at the job picture in Volusia County. That also was a positive story, Rob, in the sense that the unemployment rate continues to go in the right direction, which is down. That's another very positive indicator, I would think.
It is. It's 7.3% for the month of June. That's down as compared to 9.1% a year ago. Up slightly over a couple of months ago, but I think we're going to see that. In this case, it's because the size of the labor force has grown. So as the labor force grows, the job opportunities don't necessarily always keep up with that increase, and so you might see a little bit of fluctuation going on, but certainly we're all excited about continuing to do the things that we need to do to drive that number down, to drive it below 6% at some point, and maybe get back to some of the heady days as far as unemployment goes that we enjoyed in that 05-06 timeframe.
We talked in our last interview 3 months ago about the manufacturing sector doing extremely well. We talked recently with Jane Pfeiffer of VMA, and she talked about how well our manufacturers are doing. That also seems to be a very bright spot that continues in Volusia County, and we've actually got some headquarter relocations here, which is good news.
We do. We are most fortunate to have a strong organization like the VMA, to have the number of manufacturing firms that we have. And we have large ones, we have medium-sized ones, small ones, as people may recall that we, in DeLand, several months ago there was an announcement to buy Kingspan insulated panels. They designated that location out of 4 or 5 locations that they considered in North America, designated DeLand as their North American headquarters. And this is a very successful brand, headquartered as a corporation in Europe. And so to have them basically plant that stake here, their domestic stake here in DeLand, and grow their footprint further, that's exciting opportunity.
We'd be remiss, I think, Rob, if we didn't make note of the recent 2-year birthday celebration over at the incubator right around the corner from your office at Daytona Beach International Airport. This was a project that the county council spurred with over $1 million investment, got that off the ground, got UCF to run it and so forth. They had a very successful 2-year anniversary in which several hundred people showed up, and that really has been a very, very big success for the county.
It has. I understand there's almost 300 people attended that event over a 3-hour period. It featured 16 client companies. They're not all startups. There were a couple of Stage 2 companies that are in there who are aggressively seeking growth. So that reflects what a business incubator can do. But those companies have really started to stratify in some nice areas, including technology, manufacturing, and services. So it's a nice mix of companies, and I think it reflects in large part the business community profile that we have here.
Right.
And obviously the objective is to grow these firms to the point where they would leave the incubator, find them, locate somewhere within the Volusia County area, and continue to create jobs, continue to grow as a company, continue to help raise the bar on our economy.
And I think you got, what, 1 more space, maybe 2 left in DeLand Crossings Industrial Park?
There are 6 lots total. We've got 2 remaining. So.
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in a permitted, up and running, ready to go industrial site. You've got one at the corner of I-4 and State Road 44.
Interstate 4 and State Road 44. In fact, the county's website, volusia.org, if you go to purchasing and contracting or doing business with the county in the purchasing and contracting webpage, you'll see an open solicitation now.
You know, one of the other things, Rob, that we probably ought to mention is the fact that you keep a very, very big database of information that's available to people that might be looking at the area or companies that may need research to expand or whatever. You have a lot of research tools, a lot of information that people can gather. How can they go about accessing some of the reports and so forth that you have?
We do have quite a bit of tools at our disposal, Dave, and we're happy to give assistance to anybody that might call. You can reach us at 386-248-8048, or some of the reports, the more routine reports, are posted on our website at www.floridabusiness.org. On the homepage, if you select the statistics and key report link, then you'll have access to some of those more routine reports.
Well, Rob, I want to thank you for sharing the information. You know, you think back to the interviews a couple, 3 years ago, and big old grim looks on our faces. But now it's a very, very optimistic, and so good news to share.
It is optimistic, but we cannot take our foot off the gas pedal. We need to maintain a focus, and we need to maintain an energy level to continue to see things through to completion.
Well, Rob, again, thanks for being with us. Thanks for sharing the information, and we'll see you in about 3 months.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Our guest today, Rob Herod, he's the Economic Development Director with Volusia County. And with that, we'll go back to you, Amber.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you too for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council's meeting calendar there too. You can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. Students of the Civil War can be treated to a presentation by Civil War reenactor Ron Alcorn at the Port Orange Library, August 23rd at 10 a.m. You'll get some insight about the day-to-day lives of Union and Confederate soldiers. For more information, you can call the library at 386-322-5152, extension 20936, or just visit volusialibrary.org. And last, we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today, Volusia County Government's weekly radio program. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Patterson. Have a wonderful evening.